Americans for Fair Taxation presents the Weekly Chairman's Report, written by Steve Hayes, president of Americans for Fair Taxation, and recorded by Bob Paxton, a volunteer with the Florida FAIRtax Educational Association. And now, this week's Chairman's Report.
Hello, I'm Bob Paxton with the AFFT Chairman's Report for Friday, January 14th, 2022. The income payroll tax, the fair tax, and illegal income. IRS Publication 17, Tax Guide 2021, is 180 pages long. Now that's 48 pages longer than H.R. 25, the Fair Tax Act. Now the guide instructs us that all of the following income is reportable: bribes, gambling winnings, cash payments, the value of barter received for goods or services, money received from the sale of illegal drugs, the fair market value of anything you steal, and kickback payments you receive. Now, this reporting requirement is consistent with the basic premise of the income tax that all income must be reported on tax returns. However, does anybody really believe that people receiving income from illegal sources will disclose that income on their tax returns? If you report receiving any illegal money, you're admitting to breaking the law, and in that case, you could be prosecuted. And in many cases, the crimes to which you're admitting could carry more severe penalties than any prison sentence for failing to report the illegal money. Now, many have argued that making people report income from criminal activity on their income tax return is a violation of the Fifth Amendment's protection against self-incrimination. In the case of United States v. Sullivan in 1927, the Supreme Court ruled that the Fifth Amendment's self-incrimination protection can be employed to protect the taxpayer from having to reveal the source of any illegal income, but it does not relieve the taxpayer of the obligation to report that income on his tax return. Now, this ruling has been followed by the courts and is applicable. So, how does this impact the U.S. Treasury? Now, assume a drug dealer is making $100,000 a year selling illegal drugs, and of course he's not reporting it. Now, in that case, the Treasury loses $15,000 in federal income taxes, plus another $15,000 in self-employment Social Security taxes, for a total of $30,000. Of course, in addition, the dealer isn't paying any state or local income taxes either. Now, people who receive income from illegal sources generally take precautions to ensure that the money can't be traced back to them. They make purchases in cash or through other entities that can't be traced back to them. Now, these people live in our country and benefit from the income payroll taxes all the rest of us pay, but they contribute nothing. Now, let's look at the fair tax and illegal income. Because the fair tax is collected on retail sales of new goods and services, there's no requirement to report income, legal or illegal. The fair tax is collected on each retail sale of new goods and services. Now, sellers of new retail goods and retail services are required to register with their state revenue department and collect the fair tax on each sale. Now, if a retail seller doesn't collect and remit the fair tax on each sale, they're in violation of the law and can be prosecuted. Now, no one really expects that sellers of illegal items are going to register and collect the fair tax on their sales any more than they'll be reporting their illegal income on a federal income tax return. However, there is a major difference between the present income payroll tax and the fair tax. Those receiving illegal income will still spend that money making retail purchases. Consequently, the drug dealer making $100,000 a year and paying no income tax becomes a taxpayer under the fair tax each time he makes a purchase of new retail goods and services. In conclusion, Al Capone was sent to prison for criminal tax evasion. However, he stated the obvious when he said they can't collect legal taxes from illegal money. Now, Capone was talking about the income tax, not the fair tax. So, will people receiving illegal income willingly pay the fair tax? Well, if they willingly make retail purchases, they will. Again, the fair tax doesn't distinguish between legally and illegally obtained money. It's collected on every retail purchase of new goods and services. Now, of course, people failing to report and pay taxes on illegal money are responsible for only a small portion of the nearly $1 trillion a year tax gap. Most of that gap is created by people in legitimate businesses who don't report all of their income or who exaggerate their deductions or both. Now, when this $1 trillion is spent, the portion going to new retail goods and services will be subject to the fair tax. The FAIRtax can make a dramatic impact on all of our lives for the good. We can take back control of our lives. Now, since we still have elections, we still have the ability to elect federal representatives who will replace the complex income payroll tax system with the FAIRtax. We just need to keep pointing out the insanity of the complex income tax and the benefits of the FAIRtax to everyone. Our friends and neighbors who we need to vote with us for a sane system of taxation just need to be informed. So, what can each of us do? We can write letters and make calls to our elected representatives and attend Zoom town hall meetings demanding that if they really want to allow Americans to take back control, the first step is to eliminate the income payroll tax system and enact the FAIRtax. The great 18th century Irish statesman Edmund Burke made a statement that applies in many ways. Nobody made a greater mistake than he who did nothing because he could only do a little. Take back control. Help us pass the FAIRtax. The IRS will be gone and will pay our taxes when we make purchases. We, not the ruling class and their minions in D.C., will decide how much federal tax we pay. And we'll know how much tax we're paying because taxes will no longer be hidden from us. They will be clearly shown on every retail receipt. If you have friends who don't know about the FAIRtax, send them to fairtax.org. Have them watch the whiteboards under how it works, and if they agree, ask them to please join us. Then, contact your members of Congress and the President and demand that Congress pass the FAIRtax, the only truly fair tax.
This has been the Weekly Chairman's Report, written by Steve Hayes, President of Americans for Fair Taxation. Check back every week for news and information about the FAIRtax and learn why the FAIRtax should replace our antiquated federal income tax system. If you'd like to receive a copy of the Chairman's Report in your inbox every week, sign up at fairtax.org.